Kansas City's nonprofit voice, telling the stories of nonprofits and the people behind them, and the intersection of the nonprofit community with the profit community, making Kansas City a great place to live, work, and play. Casey Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Even when we're not faced with a global pandemic, there are many, many people in our community who struggle to make ends meet. There's government assistance for food, but what about those other essentials in our lives? Toilet paper, toothbrushes and toothpaste, shampoo, soap, feminine hygiene products. The government doesn't cover those essentials through assistance. But one Kansas City nonprofit does and has gone a long way to helping others get with the things that they need so much. And that's Giving the Basics. And we're just delighted to have with us Theresa Hamilton, founder, guru, creator, all good things with Giving the Basics. Welcome back to Casey Cares.
Thank you so much for having me, Ruth. This is really a privilege to be on here and talk to your audience about such a critical need. The dirty little secret is what I call it. But I really appreciate the time to help everybody see where we're headed with our mission.
For those folks who may not be familiar with Giving the Basics, what do you all do?
Okay, so Giving the Basics is a hygiene hub for Kansas City. And what we do is we gather all the product, cleaning supplies and hygiene products that are not covered by government assistance. We bring them into our warehouse, and then we have an incredible system for tracking the product, having all the pantries, 76 local pantries order from us every month. And we get that product to them at whatever they need. We get that product to them, to 350 schools, to all the police departments, which is exciting, and to homebound seniors. We get incontinence products. So we are out there gathering product and getting it into the hands of the people as quickly as we can, because it's not covered by any kind of government assistance. So when people go to the store with the government card and hand it in, everything's rejected at the counter that they need to get clean and get their family clean. And it's the craziest thing that we missed this critical need for people to have pride and dignity. So that's our mission, is to get that product out there efficiently and change people's lives.
And you change a lot of people's lives.
A lot of people's lives. We've been able to make the basics accessible to 250,000 people a month in Kansas City. So imagine how many times that would fill Chief Stadium. A lot of times. So we are just super proud to be able to have the kind of tracking and efficiency that we do to get the product out there.
Well, we're going to dive into the logistics and all of that in present day, but I don't want to lose sight of where this all started and how this started. Will you share with us that journey?
I will. I received a phone call on May Day in 2009, and it was a friend of mine who had 6 kids to raise and had gone from having a very fabulous life to having her husband got his leg injured in a stream. And at that point, they were just raising their kids and life was wonderful. Well, he became addicted to over-the-counter pain medication, and they lost everything. And she needed help buying toilet paper. And it was a very hard phone call for her to make, I'm sure. But the nice thing was, I laugh because she's calling a plumber's wife for toilet paper. You know, in hindsight, it's kind of funny. But the great news was that she could trust me to make that call. And so for 10 months, my husband, Bob, and I got everything they needed into their home for their kids. And it was exciting to watch the change when she called and she said, I got a job. I'm back on my feet. I don't need your help anymore. And I thought, that's amazing. Well, then the thought occurred to me, if she had this issue, then there's probably lots of people in Kansas that have this issue. Then came the realization it was the entire country. These products are not covered. And so many people that struggle would not have these products. So launched this out of my garage and had some incredible helpers that really helped get this going. You know, it took about 4 years before I hired anybody full time to help, but it was just amazing to watch all the smart and generous people that have made giving the basics what it is today, and our outreach growing. So that's really how it started and where we're at. Now our job is to make sure that we are lean and smart, and we're tripling the dollar with donations, which is exciting because we've got great buying power now. So if we do need to purchase, we can purchase, and we can do great things with donations. I mean, what you can buy for $1, Ruth, I can buy 3.
Wow, you're a good shopper.
Well,
I'm shopping with
I
you.
think it's really just kind of the nature of the beast of purchasing. So if you buy more, you get a better price.
I don't want to lose sight for our viewers, our listeners, the effort it takes to start an organization. I mean, here you did this, helping a neighbor, helping a friend, and then the light bulb goes off. But there's a whole journey in there about getting this off the ground. Can you share some tips or secrets now that you're looking back at that?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting to be able to mentor other organizations that are starting up. It's a big process. And coming from the for-profit world, the rules are not the same in the nonprofit world. And the techniques that you use for developing a very comprehensive, smart organization, it is not the same. But thankfully, I had that for-profit background so that I could actually go in and say, how can we make sure we're not wasting anything? But you've got to get a 501c3. You've got to do some government work. There's a lot of legal work, website work, and really being picky about who you use in this process and not skipping any steps is very, very important. It's nice to have a great idea, but there are a lot of organizations that start and 2 years later they're disenfranchised. They're done. It's exhausting, and they're thinking, okay, forget it. This is terrible because all I'm going to do all day long is hope people love my mission and support it, right? So it takes that ability to say, this is important. If it's not going to fix itself, you dig in. But if it's going to fix itself, or if someone else is doing it and doing it well, don't dance in that arena, right? Support them. But if it's not being done or not being done well, and it's critical to people's success, if it's having people be stuck in shame and filth, or for me, that's what it was. If it's making people stuck, then I feel like if you have the desire and the stick-to-itiveness, start your 501c3. Otherwise, plug into another one.
That journey is not an easy one, is it, my friend? We've
a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours, a lot of commitment. I think the one thing that I would echo that you're saying is you've got to stick to it, because it is a process, and you're working with the government, which at times does not respond quickly. Mm-hmm. So you have to have patience.
You do. And one thing that I noticed is there's a difference in personality. Like for me, we're one step removed, but we're able to do so much more because I'm not handing a toothbrush to a person and they're not thanking me. I'm not going to meet anybody that we help. So it's easy for me to affect, 250,000 people in a month because I'm not going to be meeting them. Some organizations and some personalities really like to touch the person one-on-one, and they're critical because they help get our product to the people, but it's not our role. So know your role and know your personality, because if you do need to be the person handing out coats, that's an honorable thing. That's wonderful. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to have the larger impact that's going to help other organizations have an impact. So you just have to understand there's a difference in personality. And it's so cool if you can just say, everyone that we hire, they're like, yeah, I get it. I get that one bottle of shampoo helps a family for a month. And I'm so privileged to be able to help get products to people like that. We don't have to meet the families. So that's something important to know when you're starting a 501c3.
What's interesting is you started, though, with that direct contact. When in the history of Giving the Basics did that shift from I'm going to really give it to my neighbor to I'm going to be the conduit. I'm going to get the product to the people who then serve the community?
Okay, that shift was almost immediate when that phone call, when we hung up the phone, because I had started to do research during this 10 months, and I thought, this is a local need. No, this is a national need. Okay, this needs to be something that no one's got a structure for making this happen. So I'm going to have to create a national system and then come back and practice locally, and then expand from the inside of the country out, because of our location, we're able to expand from a home base out very quickly. And it's been such a blessing to be able to then, send product on to other locations outside of the Kansas City area. But all donations given in Kansas and in Missouri stay there. If it's donated outside of that arena, we're able to move it farther on. So
where all are your tentacles reaching then? I guess I didn't realize that you may be supplying an organization outside of the metro.
We do. We have another warehouse in Wichita, Kansas, that operates we're the headquarters, and then we do have an affiliate up there. We also are able to send product on to Texas and Oklahoma. And we also provide through our national drives. When companies have national drives, currently Mariner Wealth is doing a national drive, and it's really exciting because all of their locations will receive product from Giving the Basics. So 27 states, the benefit is we can drop product quickly through our drives that we're having. So the national drives help a lot. We also have a monthly fulfillment. The monthly fulfillment is local and is extensive. I think we've got 463 locations totally now that we hit in the local KC Metro community, including schools and the police, like I said. And then we're able to reach out through these a quarterly push. If we have excess product, we don't want it to rot, right? We don't want it to expire. So we have a responsibility to get that into the hands of people a little further. So we take care of Kansas City first, stabilize Kansas City, and then we move from there to bless others with what we've got. And Ruth, this doesn't get old. This is just a privilege. I wake up every day and I think, what a privilege to be able to help people not be stuck. So you don't get tired of it. That's what I'm saying is, if it's going to be something you're going to get tired of, just don't start.
Well, and as our viewers can see over your shoulder are some of the products that you have been able to acquire, things like toilet paper. Let's talk a little bit about the acquisition process, and maybe you can even give us that hit list of things that you're most in need of.
Right. Anything you need to clean your body and your clothes is what we're looking for. We desperately need manufacturers that can send us their product by pallets so that we can get it out there because our numbers are so huge. We love partnering with organizations that understand what we're doing. We have a lot of partners locally that can help us, but our main need is funding to operate and make sure that we've got enough product going out every month, and we need product. And we need full size because families use full size. We do take travel size as well. But that manufacturer that says, I make deodorant or toothpaste, I want to send this to you, we'll get it immediately out there, wherever it needs to go. So that's what we really need the most. And we need volunteers, people that want to come down and have fun and help sort and package and make this part of their DNA. This exciting story that we're out there changing the world, or the country, really, not the world, but the country, is something that we want to share with everybody. And when people come here, they're so happy and they'll say, I love coming here. It makes me feel so good. And I know I'm doing immediate good. I mean, everyone knows if you don't have soap or shampoo, you're going to feel less than, right? So it's really neat when people take a shower and they brush their teeth, they remember us and they're like, yeah, I couldn't do without this. So it's very personal. What we do is very personal. That's why it makes sense to people, because it's genuine. And I don't really have to sell it, because if you go without it, you'll feel it. And you'll say, this is terrible. And then you'll find a way to connect.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk more with Theresa about how they get stuff and the pandemic pivot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Welcome back to Casey Cares. We're having a conversation with Theresa Hamilton, the founder and the force behind Giving the Basics, that makes sure that folks have those personal care items, dignity items, cleaning type things that the government doesn't cover. Theresa, before the break, I threw that word out there, pandemic pivot. Still living kind of in that world. Share with us what you all had to do to keep things going.
Oh, the pandemic has just been so hard for everybody. Imagine that you're trying to get all this product, the product that everybody needed during the pandemic, we had. So God knew way ahead of time that the pandemic was coming, but it was really awesome because we've been able to do a couple of things. We spoke with both of the city leaders on both sides of the state line, and they said, can we just let the pantries order more because there would be more people that were unemployed and more often. So we pushed out at a 68% increase during those really busy, scary months for people. We pushed product out at a 68% increase. Now, remember, here's the tricky part. We couldn't have volunteers. So the most amazing thing happened. Police officers started showing up at our door saying, can we help get the product? They knew they were receiving it and passing it out in the community. They started showing up, and individuals would show up, and we could have a few people spaced out, and we had to meet that need with less of an army, but an army that was just, they were just on fire because they knew this is what everybody needed. It was so amazing. It was like watching a miracle take place, really. So we did that, and we're really, really proud to be able, we have the systems in place for how to get the product out there. So it was just really easy for us to make the shift. And thankfully we had it. Now here's the fun news. The post answer is we now are able, we tracked the increase in need. Oops, let me turn my light on. Sorry. I have to turn my light on. It goes off.
That's what's fun about doing a show.
That's it.
Everybody, we take you out of the dark. There you go. You're enlightening us.
I'm back in the light, Ruth. I'm back in the light. We got to track what the need is in Kansas City during a time of crisis. So because of our tracking, we now know what 8 months supply is of the products that the people needed the most, which will help the cities be able to be prepared. And they know what we've got and what we're storing. And so if there is ever an emergency here, we've got it nailed down. And that's exciting. I mean, who would have known that you got to have that fun little piece in there?
So you were giving out 68% more product?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that I clarified that number. Wow. So
kids were home, Ruth, and people were unemployed, and the schools, some of the schools were still functioning. But what ended up happening was there was just a huge run on these products. First of all, people were afraid, and we wanted to help them breathe. So what if you have an extra 4 rolls of toilet paper in your cabinet? At least you've got toilet paper. So we were able to actually help with the emotion of COVID and the practicality, the meeting that practical need for people. So I was really proud of our team. Our board is amazing. They are so fun and dedicated. And they were like, how are we going to make sure that we're doing a good job during this time? And it was a specific target that they wanted to hit. And they really helped steer us towards that. So that was great. Scott Fillmore's the head of that board. He works for Lockton.
Nice shout out.
Yeah, he's great. All of them are great, but he works his fanny off. So he deserves it.
Did you have any struggles during particularly those first months getting product? Because I can recall going in, very infrequently or even online, there was no toilet paper.
We did not have those glitches. That's another great thing about having relationships with manufacturers and distributors. It's a really wonderful thing because they're kind of used to what we do, and I think they were prepared for us. It is a darn it, though, because prices have gone up. And so our buying power doesn't buy quite as much as it did. When you notice the increase in price in these products and some of the availability, instead of getting in, a truckload here or there, it's the time between is more. So we're struggling now to really find those manufacturers who want to get behind dignity and supporting people and having the acknowledgement for what they're doing with their brand. So that's what we're working on.
You brought up partnerships. collaboration. Let's talk a little bit about that. How do you make those connections, and how key has that been, particularly during the pandemic?
Well, it's been really nice because we've got some really healthy, strong relationships. We've got, with all the pantries that we have relationships with every single pantry that receives from us, right? And then there are programs. If you look into the community and the programs that are really like an annual event, Johnson County Christmas Bureau, we work directly with them to help them have the product that they're going to need. And if they have overflow, they're able to help us. That's a really good cooperative thing. They know, hey, you guys have more need right now. So they approach us and they say, we know you need it right now. Let's help you get that into the hands of the community now, and then we'll make sure that we're prepared for our event. Their event is incredible. That's just one example. I can go through so many different, well, look at the police, that relationship. They helped us they filled orders, for heaven's sake. I mean, not only did they package, they filled orders to go out into the community. All these flatbeds and pallets of product was a relationship driven event. And it was twice a month. So it was a lot for all those pantries.
Are you still working with law enforcement to help with delivery or pickup or any of that?
We do. Well, we've worked with law enforcement for the last 6 years. They pick up, they have an order that they place every year, or every month, excuse me. Every month they place an order and they come and pick it up, and then they pass that out. When they get to a crime scene, they will leave product behind. They'll ask the family, do you need anything? What can we help you with? If they run into someone on the street, or they will go to a housing complex and they will set up a table and they'll say, we know that you can't get these products. Can we help you with any of these? And they've timed it. And within 10 minutes, everything is gone. And they'll go in with tables and tables of our product. And it is just gone because people are so desperately needing these products. And it warms their heart because they know that, again, it's personal. So, yeah.
I love that you shared that story, not to take a dive into politics or, policing and all of that, but I think it shows a side of law enforcement that we don't always get, maybe on the nightly news, that there is an effort to, be a conduit in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
I assume
students, I think one of the biggest impacts that our products are having during this school year, it's been so different in the school arena, Ruth. It's amazing the testimonials we're getting from students who would say, I used to think everybody was staring at me because I didn't have the products that I needed. I felt everyone's eyes on me all the time. I didn't make friends. I was acting out in class. My grades were suffering. And I just didn't like even being me. And I didn't like being at school. It's saddest. It's the saddest thing. I felt like some of them, I felt like God had abandoned me, all different things. But once they get the basics, they're a different person. They're making friends. Their grades are coming up. How in the world did we miss that soap and shampoo and deodorant would help a kid who might just, crawl into the shadows, blossom into an incredible member of society and continue on their education instead of saying, I just can't wait till I'm a released prisoner from school because no one likes me, right? So it's been such a blessing. It's every day is a bubble in our step when someone sends us. I've got a bunch of testimonials behind me hanging up from people who say, my life has been changed, and we have boxes and boxes of them. So I don't meet the people, but I do get to hear from them. When they come and volunteer, they'll say, I was that kid, and they'll write that down for us. And it's so powerful because we say you either were the kid, you knew the kid, or you picked on the kid. So those are the 3 categories we're finding. And people can go back into their classroom, into that, 3rd grade room, and they can say, oh, now I know why Jimmy was a little different. I picked on Sammy. Oh my gosh, now I know. So then they can come and help us, which, you can only work with what you know at the time. But the kids that were the kid, their stories would break your heart, but they're so happy knowing that other kids don't have to suffer like they did. It's amazing.
You brought up one key component for you. That's volunteers.
Yes.
We know this last year with distancing and all of that. So how have you worked around that? And then share with us how people can volunteer. Where do they go to sign up?
Okay, so on our website, givingthebasics.org, there's a place to say for you to volunteer. So if you want to come and get involved, I think it's a Get Involved tab. And once you get involved, what would happen is you can bring your company down here. You can come and load out trucks on a pantry pickup day. You can sort, count, and package, but it's all signing up through our website. And it's just, I don't know, it'll light your life up. It really will. So we need those volunteers. We've got a very large warehouse. We are spaced out very well. We do require masks and obviously hand washing and anything else, but we can host a good number of people because we've got a lot of aisles in our warehouse and we can set those tables up for distancing. So you wouldn't have to worry. You can come down. We have a safe, clean warehouse.
So that was fortuitous. Who knew that having that large warehouse would pay off dividends in so many ways?
Exactly. We're able to store more product, like we said, and we're also able to house all these volunteers now. And it was funny because we have a big volunteer room and we've always used that, and we can, put 60 people in there easy. But during, the pandemic, we had to shrink it. But then we walked around and we're like, well, we have a lot of places. So it was fun to expand that for larger groups.
Before we close, I wanted to ask you, what are you looking forward? We know what back has been. Mm-hmm. So forward, maybe what's the game plan?
So moving forward, the game plan is to continue to stabilize Kansas City and take on any other locations that we've got a wait list. And so we're vetting locations currently. And making sure that we're hitting all of our areas of Kansas City that we can. We've got some schools that wanted to come on that, they've got to be able to get the product to their students very discreetly. So they need to put it in their locker. We don't want them to have a special bag that says I'm the kid with the special bag. We want them to be able to we can't talk about dignity and then hand them a bag that says I'm the kid that doesn't have anything. So it's been really wonderful we vet the schools and the pantries. And so we'll expand locally, and then we'll find those locations that are outside of our, immediate community that we can responsibly get it to, all the products to, who then can make sure that they're tracking that they're doing their job. So it's
Theresa, thank you for what you're doing in the community, giving the basics, making sure that people have dignity, for the things we all need.
Yeah.
And that it becomes something that you and your team, have been able to fulfill and stepped up to the plate during our pandemic, which hopefully lessons learned and moving forward. So thank you again. And thank you for listening to KC Cares. We're Kansas City's nonprofit voice. We're produced by Charitable Communications, and we're proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. If you'd like to be a guest on KC Cares like Theresa, or underwriting opportunities to support what we do, visit our website at kccaresonline.org. And you can spread the love, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at KC Cares Radio, and on Instagram at KC Cares Online. And don't forget, you can catch us on ESPN 1510 AM and 94.5 FM Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Thank you for listening to KC Cares.